Hi, I'm David Stein. I'm the Principal Go-to-Market Specialist for Amazon FSx.
And I'm Andy Krudge. I lead the product team for the Amazon FSx for NetApp ONTAP service.
And we're going to talk to you about how you can reduce your TCO and increase agility by migrating your NAS and file workloads to Amazon FSx. There's a wide range of file workloads that customers come to when they look at moving their workloads to the cloud. We have general purpose and corporate IT type workloads where you have large amounts of capacity. You need to be able to serve shared file storage to tens or hundreds or sometimes thousands of users. And this can range from corporate apps to user share type environments, software build environments, backup and disaster recovery use cases. We also see a lot of high performance workloads where time to results matter, and you need to be able to have high performance storage to be able to keep up with all the different types of compute and GPU instances that you could throw at a machine learning job or analytics job to be able to complete a job faster. And also SaaS applications, different types of data science and analytics workflows, DevOps platforms. And again, this is all where performance matters, as well as being able to provide shared storage. And across all these workloads is a rich set of features around data protection, file access, and all the things that customers use shared file storage for. And they want to be able to, customers like to be able to deploy shared file storage quickly and easily and have different types of business units within their environment, whether it's a corporate IT admin or a builder or a data scientist or an application owner, to be able to roll out these applications quickly and have shared file storage easily accessible. And when these customers move to the cloud, they want to use fully managed services. Customers like fully managed services because it takes the operational overhead of having to manage all the underlying infrastructure with things like managing your compute and your storage, networking, patches and updates. This is all kind of this undifferentiated heavy lifting that customers don't really want to have to manage. And so by moving to fully managed storage in the cloud, customers seek to increase their reliability without all that operational overhead and heavy lifting. They look to raise their security bar by taking advantage of all the high level of security and compliance features that customers get with AWS, as well as data protection features, leveraging things like snapshots and backups and multi-AZ type deployments, and being able to send data between regions to meet your RPO and RTO requirements. Customers also look to manage services in the cloud to help fine-tune and optimize their TCO by being able to choose just the right amount of storage they need for their application, and then grow and scale with that as they go. And then lastly, customers love to be able to automate their deployment using infrastructure as code, meaning that for production environments, you could easily deploy new file systems as part of a CloudFormation template or some other type of automation tool so that application developers can be able to spin up new applications very easily, as well as test dev environments where you need to be able to create new copies of things very quickly to test out new applications before deploying new code. However, moving from one NAS platform to the other can sometimes take months or even years to do. It requires, the way customers manage their NAS environments today, they have a common set of data access features, performance profiles, and data management APIs that they've relied on for a number of years, leveraging their existing skill set of their staff, and they don't want to have to retrain or re-architect or recertify to be able to move to a different NAS platform or be able to move to a different storage architecture. So we launched a service back in 2018 called Amazon FSx to help with all this. Amazon FSx, which stands for File System Variable, is a platform for third-party file systems. And when it comes to migrating on-premises NAS workloads to AWS or on-premises file workloads to AWS, customers come to us with a common set of on-premises file storage solutions that they want to be able to migrate to AWS without having to do that re-architecting and recertifying. In some cases, you have customers running file server deployments on Windows File Server or Windows Server on-prem, and for that we have Amazon FSx for Amazon FSx for Windows File Server, so they can easily migrate without having to redeploy in a different architecture. We also have self-managed Linux deployments on-prem for file storage, and for that customers are leveraging Amazon FSx for OpenZFS. And then we have the very popular NetApp ONTAP file system, and we have Amazon FSx for NetApp ONTAP to help make those deployments very easy as well. And so all this allows you to build and run your NAS workloads, leveraging all the same capabilities and tool and skill set that you already have without having to do that re-architecture. We talked about a wide range of use cases a few slides back, but when we look at NAS workloads specifically, there's 4 kind of common patterns that we see that we'll dive into here as it relates to our file systems that we just mentioned. On the left-hand side, we have user share and group shared environments where you have to serve a lot of capacity out for things like Office documents or media files, or financial spreadsheets, large financial spreadsheets where you need to be able to serve files across multiple users. Then we also have IT applications and databases, and this could range from things like a CRM or ERP application to an SAP application that's leveraging a database that needs shared storage for something like SAP HANA, Oracle, Microsoft SQL Server. And these are all cases where the application may be leveraging file, it may even be leveraging block, which our FSx for NetApp ONTAP file system can also provide iSCSI block to these applications while still delivering a rich set of features around being able to quickly clone for test dev, being able to replicate data for disaster recovery, and take advantage of other features such as thin provisioning and data deduplication, as well as a shared file access that file storage provides natively. We also see SQL workflows where you need shared storage for SQL failover environments. So if one SQL node goes down, the other one is able to pick up the slack, and you have highly available shared storage spread across multiple AZs to make sure that your application is not disrupted. We're also seeing VMC deployments where customers can spin up a VMC server on AWS and use FSx for NetApp ONTAP as their shared storage, which allows them to scale their storage and compute independently as they go. And a third use case, we have line of business applications, and this could range from energy like seismic and reservoir simulation, financial services, you have things like risk modeling. In the healthcare space, you have PACS imaging. In the life sciences space, we see things around genome analysis, media editing and rendering and transcoding, as well as various different types of manufacturing workloads, ranging from things like CAD to semiconductor and EDA type workflows. And then lastly, we have data protection. And so data protection could be as simple as taking a copy from on-prem and moving it to the cloud for disaster recovery or backup purposes, maybe as part of your ransomware strategy, or it could be taking data within the cloud and being able to protect it. Maybe it's a database and you just need to be able to point a simple file share to it. So we're going to go over each of the file systems that we mentioned previously. I'm going to start with Amazon FSx for Windows File Server and hand it over to Andy. But when we look at Amazon FSx for Windows File Server, this is one of our first file systems that we launched with the FSx portfolio, and it's built on a Windows OS. So it provides all the feature parity you would expect with running your own on-premises Windows server or Windows deployment in the cloud. But fully managed means you don't have to manage all that underlying infrastructure. So with a few clicks in the console, you tell us how much capacity and performance you want, and we'll do all the rest. So you don't have to worry about managing the servers, the compute, the networking, the OS, and the licensing and the patches. You can take advantage of all the features that Windows has around being able to take snapshots and do file level recovery, things like data deduplication and user quotas. And with AWS, you have the options to deploy as HDD or SSD deployment types. We have many customers that are running tens to hundreds of terabytes to petabyte scale by leveraging multiple types of HDD and SSD deployment offerings under a single namespace. And you could choose single AZ or multi-AZ deployments to meet your availability needs. And with effective rates leveraging data deduplication under a penny per gig, it makes it a very cost-effective way to deploy a simple SMB Windows-based shared file system in the cloud. It's easy to migrate. You could use AWS Data Sync to take the data from an on-premises SMB deployment and migrate it to FSx for Windows File Server without the need to re-platform or re-architect, and you keep all the same permissions and ACLs. Common use case deployments we see are around SQL Server cluster deployments I mentioned previously, user and team shares, virtual desktop infrastructure and end-user compute, enterprise IT apps, and things like media and entertainment editing workflows. We're excited to announce a new feature that we launched today, which enables you to get even higher throughputs and higher IOPS capacity for your Amazon FSx for Windows deployments. So we now allow you to provision up to 12 gigabytes per second of throughput on an FSx for Windows File Server deployment, which is a 6x increase over the previous 2 gigabytes per second. And with that, we're allowing you to provision 4 times the max IOPS, going from 80K to 350K. So when you go to provision a file system and you choose your capacity, you'll now have an additional 4 levels of throughput to choose from. And this is great for deployments where you have large sequential workflows like media editing, or you have high IOPS workflows like SQL Server where you need higher levels of performance. And we're also going to allow you to provision your IOPS independently of your capacity now, which really helps the price performance ratio of high IOPS workflows where you need a relatively small amount of storage but a high number of IOPS, and you want to be able to give more IOPS to your workflow than you previously could. So this is a great option for customers to get better price performance on their workloads and be able to run more high performance workloads on AWS. An example of a customer using FSx for Windows file servers, John Holland Group. John Holland Group's a construction company out of Australia, and they have over 90 mission-critical business applications that they had stored in their migration from on-prem to AWS, leveraging self-managed infrastructure. And they had a plan long-term to migrate into FSx for Windows, but they had a situation in their environment that they had to restore from backups from very quickly. And our ProServe team worked with them to restore in a matter of 48 hours versus the 6 to 9 months or so that they were planning on doing this over a period of time. So they were able to see that they could restore very quickly and with a like-for-like format, get these applications up and running very quickly, allowing their engineers to free up from managing some of the more administrative tasks of a file system to focus on driving more business value. And with that, I'm going to turn it to Andy to talk about our next 2 file systems.
Thanks, Dave. So as Dave mentioned, I'm going to be talking about the other 2 file systems in the Amazon FSx family that customers commonly use to migrate their NAS to the cloud. The first one of these is Amazon FSx for OpenZFS. It's actually the youngest FSx service, launched about a year and a half back. And it's powered by the popular OpenZFS open source file system. For those of you not familiar with OpenZFS, it's a file system that's really optimized to deliver high performance at a low price point. It has a number of different capabilities that make it easy for customers to snapshot, to clone data, ultimately to provide really high performance for their storage. And so with OpenZFS designed for high performance and low TCO, customers use OpenZFS traditionally, and we're seeing with Amazon FSx for OpenZFS, customers are using the service for a pretty broad spectrum of data-intensive workloads, ranging from machine learning training to chip design, financial analytics, media rendering, or game development and streaming. These are workloads where customers, the reason they're using Amazon FSx for OpenZFS is a lot of these customers, when we talk to them, they're looking for shared storage. They have a workload with multiple compute instances, multiple GPU instances that need to process the same shared set of data. And so what they're looking for is a simple shared file system they can access over NFS that's fast, that allows them to read their data, to write their data as quickly as possible, and finish their workloads as quickly as possible. And for a lot of these use cases, there's a number of different file systems that customers commonly use. For a lot of these use cases, customers aren't looking for some of the enterprise features of commercial offerings. And in these cases, with Amazon FSx for OpenZFS, customers can commonly deliver 20 to 40% better price performance relative to commercial offerings if those capabilities of commercial offerings aren't ones that they need for these types of workloads. And so we're excited as part of Storage Day to deliver a new capability for Amazon FSx for OpenZFS, which is a multi-AZ deployment option. So with the multi-AZ deployment option, customers can provision a file system that's designed to be highly available and highly durable across multiple availability zones within a region. So you go to create a file system, and any data you write to your file system is automatically replicated across AZs. Your file storage automatically fails over across AZs in the event of a component unavailability or even AZ unavailability. And multi-AZ file systems on Amazon FSx for OpenZFS, similar to what we offer with our other deployments, for example, Amazon FSx for NetApp ONTAP, deliver a 99.99% or 4 nines availability SLA. And so with multi-AZ deployments, we're really excited to give customers the high performance and the capabilities that customers love about OpenZFS, but in a deployment option that gives customers the option to have their data replicated, highly available across multiple availability zones to support some of these more mission critical, more production-like workloads that customers are looking to run on AWS. As one example of a customer who's leveraging Amazon FSx for OpenZFS, Vela Games migrated to using the service and is actually able to reduce their video game build times. Their workload is a video game build environment. They're able to reduce their build times by 60% by moving to Amazon FSx for OpenZFS. And they're able to do so for a few reasons. One is they have a workload where by moving to shared storage, they're able to reuse data across jobs, and that allows them to accelerate subsequent jobs that they run. And then also the high performance of Amazon FSx for OpenZFS means that as they run their workload, their instances can quickly read and write that data, access that data, and ultimately get to a much faster build time, a reduction from just under an hour to just under 30 minutes. So the third file system I want to talk through is Amazon FSx for NetApp ONTAP, which we actually launched publicly just 2 years ago at Storage Day in 2021. Amazon FSx for NetApp ONTAP is the only complete, fully managed ONTAP file system available in the cloud. And what do we mean by that? So it's the only service that offers a number of different capabilities, including some of ONTAP's most popular data management features. For those of you who are not familiar with ONTAP, ONTAP's a popular file system technology that customers use, and it offers a wide range of data management features, whether it be multi-protocol access, integration with different identity stores, the ability to easily replicate cache data across geographies. FSx for ONTAP is designed to give customers these same capabilities in a managed service. It also offers ONTAP's storage efficiency capabilities, such as compression, deduplication, compaction, even lower tiering of data to lower cost storage to allow customers to achieve the right TCO point for their data. And Christian and Mary talked about this in the previous session. And lastly, some of ONTAP's most popular and powerful capabilities are its replication features, SnapMirror and SnapVault, which are features that allow customers to replicate data from one ONTAP system to another, even if they're on opposite ends of the globe. And with this, customers are using FSx for ONTAP. Both they can set up cross-region replication, cross-region disaster recovery. They can also quickly and easily replicate data between on-prem and cloud. And so with FSx for ONTAP, we've designed the service to give customers a super easy path to either migrate or extend any NetApp deployments that they're running into the cloud. So speaking of ONTAP's data management features, one feature that we're really excited to have just recently launched for Amazon FSx for NetApp ONTAP is a feature called SnapLock. For those of you not familiar with SnapLock, it's a feature of ONTAP that allows you to transition your data to a write once, read many, or worm state. Basically, it gives customers the option to have their data immutably stored for a retention period they specify. It's a really popular capability that customers we've talked to are interested in. We see it commonly used amongst customers in highly regulated industries, such as financial services customers, for example, who need to keep documents around for several years for compliance reasons. And one of the really exciting use cases we're seeing around SnapLock as well is we talked earlier today as part of Storage Day around ransomware protection and customers looking to protect against ransomware. With the ability to lock your data and put it into an immutable state, customers can leverage SnapLock as a capability that gives them an extra layer of defense against ransomware attacks. I want to walk through one quick example of a customer who's using FSx for ONTAP, who's Pearson. Pearson was able to migrate some of their ERP systems over to FSx for ONTAP, and in doing so, they were able to achieve some pretty exciting benefits. They're able to reduce their batch processing time by 3x, and that's leveraging a combination of the fast performance of the service along with some of the data management features such as cloning and snapshots. They're also able to reduce their costs by 50%, leveraging some of the built-in features that ONTAP provides, such as deduplication and compression. And one of the really exciting things about this example is Pearson as a customer has actually has not used ONTAP before. The team we worked with, they weren't familiar with ONTAP, but they had a workload that could benefit from the rich features ONTAP provides. So by having ONTAP available as part of FSx, as part of a managed service, we made it easy for Pearson to stand up, deploy an ONTAP system without needing to be an expert in how to manage it. I want to really quickly walk through a couple other ways in which customers are optimizing their TCO as part of migrating their NAS over to Amazon FSx. We talked earlier about launching a multi-Z deployment option for FSx for OpenZFS, and we give customers across our offerings the option for either single or multi-AZ depending on your cost versus resiliency requirements. We offer a number of different storage type and performance options, whether it be the choice of SSD or HDD storage, tiering to lower cost capacity pool. Customers can leverage the built-in snapshot, shadow copy, backup features, replication features to easily and efficiently replicate their data. And lastly, we offer a number of built-in storage efficiency capabilities, whether it be compression, deduplication, compaction, that allows customers to reduce the space that their storage takes up on disk. So with that, I wanted to thank you all for attending. Next up, we're going to have Dave and Taylor from Phillips 66 talk a little bit about their journey migrating to Amazon FSx for NetApp ONTAP.